Hello and welcome back. I'm your friendly neighborhood technician. Today we're going to get the pistons installed in here. We're going to replace one piston, and I'm going to go over a few details about how to install piston rings. If you've removed your piston rings, how to identify which way they go, and a few other things like that. So let's get started. Okay, just to go over again, if you've lost track of which piston is which, remember that they're marked right here at the bottom of the piston. And this cap, the marking is going to match up to the mark on this side of the connecting rod. So you can't flip this around. You don't want to flip that around. You just want to keep it like that. So this is 1. This one has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we're going to be replacing the piston on number 2 because those marks right there, and you can feel a little bit of this inside the cylinder. All right, so here are the 3 piston rings. This is the top one, this is the middle one, and this is the bottom of the oil control ring. Now they are directional, so if you have taken them out and you don't remember which way they go, there are markings on them. You can see right there it says top, then it says top right there. This one actually doesn't have any markings on it. I looked at one of these other ones. One of them does have like a single, the letter N on it, but that letter was facing down, and a couple of the other ones were facing down as well. This one, I don't seem to be able to find that marking, but they are directional. You can see that that this one, especially right here, it has this edge that's supposed to be pointing down. So you see right there, that's supposed to be like this. So that is going to be facing like that with that edge pointing down. And then this one right here is the top. This one's, they're going off the picture. It shows differences between all of these, but looking at it with your bare eyes, it's kind of really hard to see the differences. Like this one right here. This one, it shows there's a little bit of a difference. And then this one, it also shows a little bit of a difference. So this one, your oil control ring, there are a few things about it. You can see that the gap is right there, and you can see that there's also some channels right here, these gaps. And then also this spring that goes through the middle of it. You can see right here. There are a few things to note about that as well. So you can see this right here. Now there is a spot on this spring where it does come apart, and there is a wire that goes through part of it, and that is right here, right there, and it comes apart like that. So you can see now in the work instructions, you want to pay attention if your vehicle does have this. It said that the wire that goes through the center of this does have a hook on it. Now this one does not. This one is just straight. So you can see right here, there's no hook on the end of that, it's just straight. And it says, the note in the instructions say, the hook that goes on this, that goes through here, you must put that hook through one of these little windows in the side of that oil control ring. But this one doesn't have it, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to put this back together, and then what you all have to do is the seam right here, when this is all together, you want to put that right here, opposite of the opening in the ring. So this is going to go right in here, like that. And then when this goes in here, you're going to want to take this. I'll open it just so you can see it. That gap is going to go right here. And that's going to go in there like that. And then you're going to put this in right there in the third ring, the oil control ring. Also, if you're replacing your piston ring set, you're going to want to make sure the gap right here is correct if you're replacing this. I'm not going to replace the piston rings on here because they're made out of unobtainium and they're no longer available from pretty much anywhere in the world. Except I found a place in England that might have it on eBay, but I can't tell if those are actually Mercedes parts or if they're just aftermarket piston rings. And the Classic Center doesn't have them, and so they're just no longer available. And since this engine, the cylinders look pretty good, I'm just going to go ahead and reuse these. I cleaned them up and make sure they're nice and lubricated before installing them. And then I'm actually going to go through and I'll show you how to clock these on your piston as well. So if you remember from the last video, here is the new piston. There's a new snap ring in there for the wrist pin. Okay, a note in the work instructions, you see how there are some markings on this side of the wrist pin. You do want to make sure you take this wrist pin in and out and reinstall it the same way you take it out. That's what the work instructions say. So, see right here, we're going to put those markings the same down towards the same side that that arrow is pointing. And a little bit right here, you can see, hopefully you can see the markings that are a lot more clear on the brand new piston rings. You can see top, and then this one, the oil ring, doesn't have it still. See right there, there's no markings right there or on the bottom of it. Here is the number 2 piston that we're replacing, and you can see right here, there's the marking right there towards the front, so that's the direction we're going to be installing the new piston. It's right there, same direction. So to get this wrist pin out, you can see there's a notch right here. You're going to get a screwdriver in there and you're going to pry out this snap ring that's in there. Now, if you're going to reuse the piston, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put a rag in here so you don't damage the piston anyway. And then also what helps is if you rotate this wrist pin right here, the gap that you can see right here, towards that opening, so then it comes out a lot easier, so you're not trying to force this whole end or that whole end out. So you can see that the snap ring is out and the wrist pin should come right out. But I've already loosened this one up and make sure it's nice and free. So then you just got to push it out. You might need to give it some motivation. Using the soft end. There it goes. Then I'll make a nice paperweight. And here's the connecting rod all by itself. Couple things. One thing you want to pay attention to, if you're going to replace these bearings right here, you're going to want to make sure you put the bearing right here with the hole on this side of the connecting rod, because this rib right here is where oil goes through and it comes out. You can see right there, there's where it comes out. And if you don't get that, if you swap these around, you can see right there, there's no hole. Then you're not going to get oil to the wrist pin end right there. Now you're going to get your favorite assembly lube. I have several favorites. This stuff is just super thick and sticky. I like using it because it doesn't really drip much. So if you're not going to put together or start your engine that you're working on right away, it'll still hold that film on whatever surface you get it applied to. And then you won't have to worry about doing a dry start if the engine sits there for a minute before you restart it. All right, now to get this installed, you're going to want to start your wrist pin. To right about there. Then slide your connecting rod in. And get it all the way in, just like that. And you can see those markings right there. Now you're going to want to put your snap ring in the piston. And then when you're done getting the snap ring in, you want to rotate it, the opening in the snap ring, opposite that notch. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to lubricate the piston rings. Okay, one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to line up all the gaps in the piston rings. You want to have these offset from each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this notch on this side, then I'm going to put the middle one on the other side, and then I'm going to offset this one from either of those two. So this one I'm going to put right there. Then this gap is going on there, and then this one is going to go right in between those, just like that. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to lube up every single one of these connecting rod bearing journals. Okay, next you're going to want to get your favorite piston ring compressor. Arrow points towards the front of the car, which is this way. You can see right there, there's the front crank pulley bolt. That's going to face that way. And when this is in there, upside down, these numbers are going to be facing outwards. So it's going to be like that. So you're going to slide it in there. Make sure you don't scratch the cylinder. And then you're going to use something not hard metallic to tap this down. And it helps if you have a little bit of the piston skirt hanging out the bottom. Helps to line it up inside the cylinder. Just like that. There we go, just like that. Okay, before we put the connecting rod bolts in, you want to measure them, especially if you're going to reuse them. You can reuse these up to 52.9 millimeters, and that's from the bottom of the head right here to the end of this. So you got 52.9 right there, and you can see right there that is shorter than 52.9. The spec is between 52 and 52.9. So this bolt is good to reuse. I'm going to measure all the other ones, and then I'm going to put them in here. Then we're going to torque them down. And you have to remember to put the markings on the same side as the markings, which are facing the outside of the block. And before you put in the bolts, you want to make sure you put a bit of oil on the bolt itself, on the threads. Not too much. And I'm just going to snug them. I'm not going to torque them just yet. And here are the ones that go on the driver's side. You can see the arrow that points towards the front, and then the numbers, when it gets in there, they're going to be facing towards the outside of the block. All right, now we are going to tighten all of the connecting rod bolts. Now, you can do it any number of ways. You can do torque them down and then do the tightening angle on the connecting rod. You can tighten them all down and then do the tightening angle on all the connecting rods. You can do, there's no really real torque pattern for that. So I think I'm just going to go one connecting rod at a time and torque it, tightening angle, then move on to the next connecting rod. So we're going to start here at the front. We're just going to work our way all the way to the back. So the tightening torque is 40 Newton meters and then a 90-degree angle. 45 Newton meters for initial tightening and then a 90-degree angle. So 40, 45 Newton meters, one of those. So let's get to it. All right, that's how you get the pistons inside the M120. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully it's useful to you. Hopefully it helps you out. Make sure you hit subscribe, give me that thumbs up, and hit the notification icon so you get notifications when I post a new video. Thanks for watching.